Hey, everybody. Welcome to Broadway.com's Live at 5. It is November 8th. I'm Beth Stevens.
I'm Paul Wontorek.
And we're here with Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
We have a very nice guest.
A Tony-nominated guest.
That's right. Mike Faist is here from Days of Rage at Second Stage Theater.
He was in another show called...
He was in another show. Something like that. Yeah, that's right.
More hair.
But first, we're going to get to our top 5.
Someone is returning to the land of Lola.
Hey, we got another Lola. Another Lola.
Another Lola?
I didn't know we were going to get more Lolas because, Kinky Boots is running out. I mean, it's closing. When's it closing?
Time, April.
April 7th, so there's still plenty of time.
Sure.
But no, Callum Francis, who has played the role in UK and on tour in Australia, will be joining the Broadway company.
Three-continent Lola.
On January 11th, replacing J. Harrison G.
Who's fabulous.
Yeah,
yes.
Who's fantastic. Been doing the role for a long time. He's leaving, but here's the thing: he'll be back to close it.
Oh, cool.
So he'll be the final Lola. Sorry, Billy Porter. So
I think he's doing all right.
No, he'll be back March 19th and then play through April 7th. So it's a limited run, but what a great opportunity for a West End star that we don't know to come to Broadway.
Yeah.
And two Broadway alums are coming together for a reimagining of this classic story.
We're excited for this. We're talking about Merrily We Roll Along.
Well, it's like one of our favorite shows.
I mean, right, of course, everybody's. It's Stephen Sondheim, George Firth. You already know that. It's Fiasco's Merrily We Roll Along, which means it's only 6 people doing it.
Well, they did that fantastic Into the Woods.
Yes, so good.
Yeah.
So good. Manu Narayan, who was just in getting the band back together, will be joining the cast along with Brittany Bradford. And the rest of the cast is Jesse Austrian, Ben Steinfeld, Emily Young, and Paul L. Coffey. This begins January 12th at the Laura Pels at the Roundabout, and it opens on February 19th. It's a limited engagement through April 7th. I mean, 6 people doing all that amazing music. Although those parties are going to look small, right?
Yeah. That, Frank, da-da-da. I never know which version of Merrily that's in.
That's
because I like that. I really fell in love with the original cast recording, and then they Sondheim rewrote a lot of it, and I was like, but I like the other one. Oh, I like that one too. But
I love when you nerd out.
I never
really
know what
do.
song is going to be in it when I sit down and watch Merrily Roll.
It's going to be 6 people, so it's not going to be like anyone you've ever seen before.
There's a song called The Blob. Meet the Blob.
I don't know that song.
And this famous philosopher is coming to the stage.
Are you speaking of Michael Stuhlbarg? He is a pretty smart guy. I think you're talking about Socrates. Michael Stuhlbarg will play Socrates in Tim Blake Nelson's new play. Do you remember The Pillow Man? Wow.
Oh, my God. So good.
How good was that?
And then he played Hamlet in the Park.
He was
so
talented for The Pillow Man. He's been in a lot of things, but he's been doing a lot of film and TV, and we haven't seen him around as much.
Not as much, yeah. So
Welcome
where
back,
is this?
Michael.
What's going on?
It's going to be good to have you. So we know what Socrates is about. It's about Socrates. Look it up.
Oh, sure.
Wikipedia.
We know everything about that.
It will be directed by Tony winner Doug Hughes, and it's at the Public Theater. It starts April 2nd, opens April 16th, and will run through May 19th. It'll probably get extended.
Early prediction.
I love that. And these two Broadway alums are going to lead a premiere musical.
We're talking about A.J. Shively and Christina Sajou. It's a world premiere musical called Paradise Square. This is at Berkeley Rep. You got to go to the other coast to see it. Did you know that Christina Sajou had a Broadway.com vlog?
Don't ask me the name of it.
It was from Spider-Man. It was called Spin City. There you go.
Okay, that's really that's a deep cut.
Totally deep cut. Anyway, this new musical features a book that's co-written by Craig Lucas, Marcus Gardley, and Larry Kerwan, and it's directed by Moises Kaufman, who's currently represented on Broadway by Torch Song, and it is choreographed by Tony winner Bill T. Jones, who of course choreographed Spring Awakening. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It is set in 1863 in a 20-block area of Manhattan known as the 5 Points. There have been a lot of movies about this, where Black and Irish Americans live side by side. When the Civil War intensifies, will the hard-won bonds of friendship, community, and family in the 5 Points prevail or be severed forever? If you need to know, you've got to go to Berkeley Rep.
So
and
it
opens
a period piece
on January 10th, 2019. I'm sure it has, contemporary themes. Contemporary themes.
And save the date for this hilarious night in theater.
So MCC, every year they do Miscast. It's like
yes,
one of
the
most highly anticipated events
fun.
of every year, where they get a bunch of amazing Broadway and off-Broadway actors and ask them to perform things they would never be cast as. And this is happening on April 1st, 2019. So if you have a few $1,000s, buy a table. You're going to have a good time.
We don't know who's in it yet.
No.
But
Calm down, everybody.
I'm
We
sure
won't
we'll
know
have
till
one
probably
performer
March.
at a time. They'll tell us one per day.
Can I say one final thing before I go to make way for...
Happy opening King Kong.
Yes! Can I just... I've talked
okay.
about this before,
Go
but
on.
King Kong is a very important thing to me. It was a movie, the original movie. I grew up watching it with my dad. And I've always loved the story of King Kong. And I've been very excited about this project ever since they first announced it.
This is true.
And I actually like it, which is great.
There's your review,
And
ladies
it's
and gentlemen.
such a... it's so groundbreaking and theatrical and cool and different. And it's not Sondheim. It's not
No.
a traditional musical. It's like a Broadway version
It's a
of a
blockbuster
big
type
summer blockbuster.
Yeah, totally.
And you're gonna have a great time. And welcome to Broadway, you big monkey. I'm very excited.
And Christiani Pitts.
I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go to the King Kong party. So
Is that why you're wearing that cute tie clip?
That's what I'm wearing my top for. King Kong.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Paul,
gonna
for
get
telling us about King Kong. Oh, good, because I just want to remind you that Mike Feist is here. Caitlin, will you tell us about our guest?
Yes, gladly. We have Mike Feist in the studio with us today. He's currently starring in Days of Rage off-Broadway at Second Stage. He earned a Tony nomination in a little show called Dear Evan Hansen. Have you heard of it? He also was in Newsies on Broadway, and some of his off-Broadway credits include Appropriate and A Month in the Country. He's also been on screen in some things like Law & Order SVU, Deception, and more. Follow him on Twitter at Mike_Feist and leave all of your questions in the comments down below. Please welcome Mike and Beth.
Thank you, Caitlin. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
How you doing?
One of my favorite projects was And More.
And more.
Yeah.
You were so good in that.
Thank you.
You just shined. Really
Thanks.
good in And
I
More.
know, yeah.
How's it going over there at Second Stage?
Really great. I'm having a lot of fun. Yeah.
Let's tell people, because this is a new play. It's Stephen Levinson, who wrote the book for Dear Evan Hansen, won a Tony Award, wrote it. So let's tell people what it's all about.
Well, Days of Rage is basically about, it takes place in 1969, about a young group of revolutionaries who have very strong ideals and are very altruistic, and they are going forth with this protest that's happening in Chicago. Takes three days in October, called the Days of Rage.
And that was a real thing.
It was the real thing. And the estimate at the time was that 25,000 people were going to show up to this protest. And the title of it was, or the catchphrase was, "Bring the war home," where these anti-war protesters were going to take to the streets and fight the police in Chicago. And what ended up actually happening was only maybe like 500 people ended up showing up.
And it was super violent.
And it was very violent, lots of injuries, lots of arrests, and one person actually became, who was, I forget what government.
Was in the government.
I forget what local government position he had at the time, but became paralyzed, and it was a very violent moment in American history.
But that's like the backdrop. This is really all taking place in some small, little ramshackle,
Correct, yeah.
really dirty house in
Correct.
upstate New York.
And upstate New York,
And
correct.
you guys, it's actually funny too. It's not
It's
just.
a very. It's
It's not just like strife and
no.
blood.
The play is a satire, very much so, and I think people aren't necessarily like expecting that. They see this title, Days of Rage, and something, and it's very much a satire.
Sounds
and
super drama, doesn't it?
Totally, but it's 90 minutes. It's wonderful. It's so much fun. Wonderful cast. Lauren Patton, Tavi Gevinson, Odessa Young, and this is Odessa's first
It's her stage debut.
theater credit. Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
then of course J. Alphonse Nicholson,
Who's so good.
fantastic. Yeah,
Great group of young performers.
and directed by Trip Coleman.
And directed by Trip Coleman, who
Yeah.
always does a good job.
Mhm.
Was it fun to be reunited with Stephen Levinson?
Of course,
He's so smart, that guy.
He's very, very smart, and not only is he very smart, but he's also very kind and open and very collaborative, and just has been amazing throughout this entire. Not only that other show, but this
That
one
other
as well.
show. We're not going to name it. You just have to infer
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
But
Maybe you do.
he's just always so wonderful to work with. Yeah, I always say, like, if I can work the rest of my career just doing Stephen Levinson plays, I'm doing really well for myself.
That's
think.
a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard
Nah,
one.
he's amazing.
But more importantly, let's talk about cutting your hair. So, come on, you know you want to know. So after Dear Evan Hansen, after your time in that, how long until you were like, let me get this Connor hair off?
It was the same week.
So I had a feeling.
It was the same week.
A little bit of a relief.
Yeah, left on
That
show
was a
on
long
Sunday. Probably
period
cut
of time
it on
for you.
Wednesday or something. Yeah, 3 years of growing
3 years
hair.
of that.
Yeah.
Although you could have had it for this show. It would have worked.
Yeah. I wanted to do
You were
something
moving
a
on.
little different. Just a little different. Change it up.
Listen, I know that they're like a quadrillion. Yeah, people are this scrolling. There's so many questions from you guys.
Just a
So
little.
I'm going to hand it over to the fans,
Great.
the Feist fans. Is that what you call yourselves? Do they have a name?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
We can name them now. That's great. So Scott would like to know what has been the biggest difference going from a bigger musical to an off-Broadway play, and what that transition was like for you.
Well, one, I guess the biggest thing was, you know, you're with this piece for 4 years, creating it and doing all these iterations and things. I mean, they're totally different, and yet they're kind of the same because, you know, you approach everything somewhat in the same way. I mean, whatever the piece is, it's different, but it was just nice to do something that was, I think, just a completely different play. You know what I mean?
Totally
than
different
Dear-
type of character.
Totally different character.
No singing and dancing.
Yeah, you know,
None of
it's-
that stuff.
Yeah, just to like, explore a totally different person, and that was, I mean, that's the best. I don't know. Yeah,
Love that.
yeah.
So next question.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you to doing Days of Rage? What made you want to be a part of this show?
Well, like I said, any opportunity to work with Steven, of course, I'm going to jump at it, just because I know that Steven is extremely smart. So I know that no matter what, I'm in good hands. I just know that for a fact. Trip Coleman was one of those directors that was on my bucket list. I always wanted to do that. You know, I just really responded to this play. You know, the funny thing about the play is that Steven wrote this 9 years ago in 2009.
Wow.
So right after Obama was elected. And the idea at the time he was kind of like talking about was this idea of change and what actually goes into making change, and what's good change, what's bad change, how far do you go in order to implement change. And it was just this struggle that he was kind of, you know, just kind of questioning in general. And that was 9 years ago, and here we are.
Right, after Obama got elected. So this is a very different time period now.
Different time period, but at the same time, I don't know. I think what's interesting and fascinating about it is we can go back to 1969 and 2009 and then 2018 and continue to ask kind of the same questions, which I don't know is cynical or hopeful. I really don't know, you know, but ultimately it's cyclical for sure. And I just think that was fascinating.
It must have been fun for you to be able to dig into research
Yeah.
about his, because obviously this takes place in 1969.
Yeah, and these
whereas with Dear Evan
particular-
Hansen, you were part of the process of
Well,
creating
different
it.
research, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah, this one, well, yeah, I mean, same and different. There's much more source material in this area
Sure.
that I was able to, where I had to really dig with Dear Evan Hansen.
Because you didn't look at the plan and go, oh, I know all about the Days of Rage protest.
No,
That's,
of course not.
That's not something people really know that much
Yeah,
about.
yes, I totally remember.
Oh, I
yes.
totally get that. Yeah.
But you know, there is so much source material, and these particular young people at the time are very, very fascinating, and the lengths that they go to implement their ideals, and it's fascinating. There's a wonderful documentary called Weather Underground that we were looking at, and you know, Bill Ayers talking about that time and kind of reflecting on that time. Some of it is just like the idealistic youth, that energy that you bring into things, and then you look back at your younger self and you're like, well, that was a choice. You know what I mean? A little bit of that. But a lot of them, they say, you know, we were standing up for what we believed in, and we fought for something, and you know, we made mistakes along the way, but we fought for something. And I think Steven's done a very nice job of balancing. You see these kids who are throwing themselves into their beliefs, so much so that they are smacking themselves in the face.
Without really thinking about it that much.
Of course. And they are making all the wrong mistakes.
Yeah.
So much, like, to the point where the audience is maybe uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And, but I think you witness and you kind of, there's a certain amount that you have to respect of, like, how strongly these people are willing to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. So another person named Scott asked, how is it working with Lauren? I saw her twice in Jagged Little Pill. She's amazing. And so I'm going to add to that. What is it like working with this cast, and how has it been?
And what musical do you want to do with Lauren? Let's get to the point.
Three-parter.
No, I mean, Lauren has been absolutely wonderful. She's an amazing, amazing actor, as is the rest of the cast, you know. And this particular play and this time has been so much fun. And it's been such a whirlwind. We've had 3 weeks of rehearsal, and they were like, all right, let's just make it happen.
Let's
and
do it.
You know, Steven, the way he works is every day it's basically a new play.
He's working on it while you're rehearsing.
Oh yeah. We made changes up until the day before opening, you know. I mean, that's just how it works with new plays. And so everybody was just so open and so freeing and willing, and it really has been.
And they get to do some out there things.
Oh yeah.
So they get to make
Which
some
makes
bold
it-
choices.
Which makes it all the more fun. But you know, that's really a testament, I think, to Trip Coleman being our leader, because you know he set up that environment of this safe environment for us to really feel comfortable with each other and trust each other.
Okay, what musical?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
All right, well, you guys can write in, and we'll vote.
We can write it.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
love that. So we actually have a lot of people just saying that they've seen the show and that they want to see it again.
You should.
You know, and I just want to like kind of bounce off of that and say, how does it feel, like the fans' reaction with you guys just opening, and you know, what has that been like, the audience reaction and hearing that people are loving it so much?
Well, it's interesting, you know. There's two groups of people. There's the people that lived through this time, and then there's the people that had no idea that this existed. And
They just love Newsies, and now they're going to see
you
this.
know what I mean? But it's fascinating. It's a political piece. It draws up emotions, and it brings up a lot of questions from both sides, you know. So I think people are on the ride with us every night, and they're experiencing it, and you know, for better or worse, we're on the ride together, kind of a situation, and that's what we do, you know. And I think people are taking a lot from it, and I think people are asking a lot of questions.
I think it's so amazing that you've had the opportunity to work on so many original pieces and be part of that process.
Yeah.
Are there any classic works you'd like to do?
Well, Month of the Country was,
Oh, that's true, of course.
Yeah,
But
Russian literature.
Russian literature. Now
Yes.
you've got the bucket list. What
Yes,
else is on it?
Russian literature.
Russian literature and Trip Coleman are on the bucket list.
You know, I'm doing a lot of reading at the moment. Trying to kind of brainstorm and kind of
Well,
make
you're
a
a
little
writer
short
too.
list.
What are you working on?
Oh, nothing at the moment. I'm not writing anything at the moment. No. What I do is I go up to people like Lauren or you know, some other friends of mine who I think are very smart, and say, so when are you going to write something, you know? So I can like egg them on to write something, and then I weed my way in there is what I end up doing.
I see.
Yeah.
And that's, you just get in on the ground floor.
Yeah.
I love that.
You know, but I just love being on the ground floor. I love being a part of that process. I love like the creation aspect of things. I like, I don't know, making something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's all like exciting to me. It's something that is really all I ever want to do, is create complicated, interesting people, and see like where I fit in with those complicated, interesting people, and like, you know, where how real is that within myself, that like you know, yeah, where's that balance, I guess. Yeah.
I love it.
Great. That kind of goes into this next question. Amanda asks, what do you love about being a performer?
Well, it's not the money. I'll tell
Now that off-Broadway contract.
But that's it. I think I don't know.
Well, can you tell people a little bit about your start? Because it's pretty interesting. Back
Is
in
it?
Ohio, I thought so.
I guess. I don't know. I started doing, I guess, I don't know. I started doing.
You don't have to.
Well, I don't know. I just like started watching old MGM films and fell in love with Gene Kelly and like Fred Astaire, and was like, yeah, I got to put myself in dance class, and that morphed into doing children's theater and community theater and high school theater, and I just always knew that I wanted to be in New York and doing this, and that kind of led its way to Newsies, and then I had the opportunity to understudy Jeremy Jordan in that, and I was like, I really want to do more acting. I really admired him and his performance and that, and so I was like, I want to figure out and push myself where I can go, which then led to Dear Evan Hansen and some other, I was fortunate, like, to do my first off-Broadway play was Appropriate, this Brandon Jacobs Jenkins play with like Johanna Day and Liesl Tommy was directing, and I just wanted to be in the room with people who were more talented and smarter than me.
I don't know about that.
No, it's true.
You're pretty talented and smart.
But osmosis. But the most exciting thing is just kind of doing it, because every day it's the goal of finding like presence. It sounds like so hokey and weird, but I don't like performing, but it's the goal of like, okay, with the however many of these people who are watching me right now, how like present can I try and be, and tune everything out and just do it. And some days it's like, wow, magic, and then other days it's, well,
a little more like
we'll
work.
show up tomorrow and see if you could do it again. Yeah.
Which of those MGM movies was your favorite?
Singing in the Rain. Yeah.
Would you want to be in Singing in the Rain? Which is a Broadway show.
No, not particularly, no.
I just had to ask.
Yeah,
of course,
that's
it's a
fair.
great movie.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have one more question, then we're going to get out of here.
Yes. Okay, so this is just a fun one to end on. So actor, writer, dancer, pilot. Do you have any other hidden talents?
Yeah, tell us. Pilot.
I
That's
guess
a story.
it's a long life. We'll see if we can come up with more, maybe. I don't know.
Love it.
We'll just wait for you to live more.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, have you seen Days of Rage at Second Stage? It's written by
November
Stephen Levinson.
25th.
It stars Mike Faist and a whole
Very
lot of
good.
talented people. What are you waiting for?
Do it.
Caitlin, will you take us out?
Of course. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are live at 5 every single day on Facebook. You can listen to us in a podcast form by searching for hashtag live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we talk to Andy Carl of Pretty Woman.